Hello everyone, my name is Hilda and welcome back to my channel. Today we have the second Knitting Magic, Harry Potter Knitting Magic New Patterns from Hogwarts and Beyond. I have a flip through of the first one up as well, which will be linked to in the description below. And yeah, we're just gonna go get into it. You will be able to see all the patterns and then decide whether the book is something for you or not. And at the end, I will give my opinion on the book. So yeah, let's get into this. A very quick note on this pattern before I continue with the rest of the flip through. I have knitted this twice. I would say that the correct gauge is probably best attained on a 4.5mm needle for an adult. I feel like if you look at some movie pictures, I don't have any on hand, I do apologize, but I know it is possible, my friend Stan has done it, to pull up some really good ones, and it doesn't look like it was knitted on a 4mm needle. Also, to have this bit screen accurate, the bottom row that is woven through yarn is light blue. This is a light purple, and from what I can tell, this is like a really dark purple, you know, like a dark aubergine color, maybe. So it's not just like gray and black. Also, I have found that the most screen accurate color I was able to like find easily was Scheepjes's. You can get it in Color Crafter, but that's a much finer yarn. Or in Chunky Monkey, and in Chunky Monkey, the color is definitely called ochre. But yeah, so I've knitted this twice, and there was a bit of a pitfall. If you're knitting the body of the hat, you kind of have to like really keep your head with the way it's described to the eyelet. Yeah, the eyelet rounds, because I made mistakes following this and ended up with not enough stitches to do the 3-way bind off. So yeah, this is just my advice to you guys. This is the only pattern I've knitted from the book so far. So I kind of wanted to pause the music and interject this for, you know, in case this is actually useful information for someone. But yeah, let's continue. Also, before I forget, this hat you can see Ginny wear at the water challenge, you know, the one in the lake, the golden egg challenge, when they're all swimming in the lake in Hogwarts in Goblet of Fire. So yeah, it's a matter of like really pausing the screen as well. But yeah, now I will really carry on. because clearly they know that dirigible plums are orange. They have an orange dirigible plum here. And yet, they're still red for the charts. So yeah, if you want a movie accurate dirigible plum, replace red with orange. And that was it for this book. Now, my opinion. Well, like I said, this is a sequel. Let me move this out of the way. I have put that in there because I want to knit Follow the Spider scarf at some point, which was like the project that really caught my eye on Ravelry. So that is my first tip. If you see that one of these books that interests you is, available, go on Ravelry.com and have a look at the patterns, because most of the Tanis Gray books will have patterns, they're general overviews. You won't be able to see the proper pattern unless you buy the book, but at least you will have an idea of what yarn you would need, if it's too difficult for you, if it's actually attainable, that sort of thing. And also have a good idea of an amount of patterns that are in there at very least. So if you don't have access to a flip through like this, it's the next best thing to be able to see whether a book is worth your buck, so to say. I will say that even though a lot of these patterns have one lightning bolt for beginner, they are not beginner friendly. Like these dolls, you have to have a good idea of how to use double pointed needles in any case, or a magic loop, maybe. I'm somebody who has been knitting for a long time, but has always been knitting like simple things, scarves, leg warmers, stuff like that. And previous to owning this book, I think the most difficult thing I've ever knit was the capelets, the Bobaton capelets from the first Knitting Magic. So yeah. Which is also like the pattern. I remember that the first time I read through it, I could not make any wise of it. Well, not for the most part. And my neighbor, who is a very experienced knitter and crocheter, she spent quite some time figuring it out with me. So they're not always, the descriptions are sometimes a bit strange, even if you are an experienced knitter. So I will put that out there. That said, if you want to dive into this, there's nothing stopping you. There are so many good knitting resources on YouTube. If you don't understand a stitch from the explanations, you don't know how to do it, someone is going to be able to explain it to you, even if you have to watch multiple videos. When I did the loop stitch a few years ago, when I knitted Luna Lovegood's lion hat, well, it was a lion hat. It wasn't specifically Luna Lovegood's. It took me quite a while to find a video that explained it in a way that I understood. So I had to watch several. But in the end, I did get there. I did knit the hat. It was too big, but it's pretty in my display case. But I'm digressing. I'm just saying, like, sometimes if it doesn't work out with the first video, just keep at it. You will get there. At the very least, to knit anything from this book, you need to know how to knit stockinette, like the little V's, and garter, which are the ribs. So you need to know how to knit and purl, to put it that way. Some patterns are definitely easier than others. Like, I can see this being easier than some of the other projects in here. But yeah, this is definitely the one that will be my next knit from this book. I'm knitting a bunch of other things first. I liked that there was, where is it, a Quidditch sweater in here. Of course, I cannot find anything. But yeah, I like that there's a Quidditch sweater. I like that there's patterns from Fantastic Beasts. I know these are for sale. So if you don't want to knit your own, that's definitely an option. However, if the commercially available ones are not like the size you like, because I know the sizes are fairly limited, the fit also. And if you are an experienced knitter or, just good with patterns in general, it's probably going to be easier for you to adjust this pattern than to deal with a knitted ready-bought sweater. So there is that. I see that they have patches in the movies. This doesn't have a patch, but you can buy sew-on patches, and I think they're by Cine Replicas, but I'm not sure. But somebody does sew-on patches. I know this for a fact because I have a jacket which has a Gryffindor and a Hogwarts patch on it that I sewed on. It has no backing for ironing on, but I think that for knitwear, that's actually probably your best bet because it will be more flexible. So if you want the patch, that would be my advice. Just looking at the one Ron is wearing versus this. Obviously, this is wider than this here, but that is just a matter of replacing some of the red rows with ochre ones, yellow ones. So that's that. I think I've not read through the pattern, so don't, stick me onto it, so to speak. I think you should be able to right up to here knit this in the round, which will be less of a pain if you're doing the entire thing in rib. I mean, this would eat my sanity. I know how to do rib. It's fine. It's not hard. It's all knitting and purling, but it's just annoying. I don't like doing it. This is probably nothing new to most people, but it might be to people who are inexperienced with knitting and embroidering stuff. But this chart, you can use this for cross stitch. So if you want to get into cross stitch, if you're a cross stitcher, you probably already know this, but yeah. So if you want to get into cross stitch, this is also fun because you have all these as well. Now, what I also will say, and this will be an absolute nightmare because it's lots of it. If you don't know how to do color work, and I don't advise it for a project like this, but say you want to knit a sweater and you have a lovely, lovely plain sweater pattern. It's in stockinette, and you just want to put these erin pins on there. You just want a border of cute erin pins, and that's it. You can either translate this into your pattern so you can do the color work, or if you've already knit the sweater or just don't want to bother with color work, which would be me. It's not for me. My math is very poor. My attention span is usually also quite poor. So color work is not for me. But what is for me is duplicate stitch. And duplicate stitch is literally sort of like embroidering. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. But embroidering it onto your sweater in a way that it looks like it's knitted into there. It's amazing. I'm a huge fan of duplicate stitch. So yeah, that is also what these knitting charts are great for. You can transfer some of the designs onto a stockinette sweater. Same with this. If you just like want the one, you could just knit it in color work and ignore the others, or you can just duplicate stitch whatever the heckens you like on a stockinette stitch sweater. So the little V's, I'm not sure how well you can see. I'm gonna hold it up. Maybe, yeah. I think you can see it fairly well that it's all like little V's. So yeah, that is also a pro tip. If you want something really badly, but the color work is just too daunting, duplicate stitch is your friend. I'm trying to find the mittens, because the mittens, if you can knit and purl, the mittens are the mittens, not the knittens. The mittens are definitely a beginner-friendly project. Saw them earlier. Sure you remember what I mean. There were the gray ones with the... Yeah, this is not a beginner-friendly project. And it's marked intermediate. I would probably say that this is advanced, because just flipping through, I saw that it requires... Oh, here you go. This is definitely... Because it's not even knit in the round. You don't need to use DPNs. So that's great. That is rightfully marked beginner. It's very easy. But yeah, so for the socks, you needed like stuff I had never heard of. Also, again, why are they red? Why are they radishes and not dirigible plums? I mean, they got it right here. That's a pet peeve. But yeah, there's also a Luna Lovegood project. Wow, words. Project in the first one, and those are, I believe, also mittens. But yeah, also to get back to the duplicate stitch, if you have socks in stockinette with like wide enough stockinette, because otherwise you will be very annoyed and need a very, very fine needle and thread. Can be done, but I would probably advise against it. You could also just like embroider little letters on it. It's also a really good tip for a Weasley sweater if you don't want to, even if you have a sweater that you have bought, just a plain sweater in stockinette, and you want a Weasley sweater, the charts for all the letters are in the first Knitting Magic, and also the pattern if you want to knit up your first Weasley sweater. I cannot speak today. Jesus Christ. But that said, if you like this sort of book, get it. I mean, if you still want to buy Harry Potter merch, and to each their own, I'm not gonna dictate how anybody spends their money. I got this for Christmas. I wouldn't have purchased it, but it was gifted to me. And I'm just filming this because I feel like they're expensive, and I feel like people should know what they get into pattern-wise. So I'm just doing this as a public service to my fellow crafters. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's just so you can decide whether you feel like this is worth your money or not. So that's up to you. I find that a lot of these patterns are very, very complicated. I feel like it could be explained better. Let me double check what the Ginny's hat. I'm gonna just look up which page it is. That's gonna make my life a lot easier. Yeah, here, Ginny's hat, 45. Can't be far away now. Yeah, I feel like it could have been explained better. Like, it would have been super helpful if they had said, because they say just to end of row, but if you do it to end of the round, you're gonna end up with not enough stitches in the end. So the way it is explained is really poor, and I feel like it would have been better if they had done what a lot of knitting patterns do, and that is put an asterisk, state what you need to knit, close the asterisk, and then say repeat asterisk to asterisk, so everything between both asterisks to end of row and this is the amount of stitches you need to have. That would have been perfect. But I didn't do that. It's just a horrible mess, you know? It's the way the pattern is explained is rubbish. And if I figure out how to do it properly, I'm not sure if I want to knit this a third time, but if I figure it out, I will absolutely make a short video explaining people on how to do it correctly. And I know that people were saying that there were issues with patterns in the first Knitting Magic as well. So that is something to be also advised about, that there are issues with the way patterns are explained. And if something goes wrong, it's not necessarily you. It might just be the pattern. So I don't know if there were test knitters for this, but I feel like maybe not enough of them. But that is just me, and I hope nobody comes at me for this. Like I said, I'm not the most experienced knitter, but I feel like if you have a very experienced knitter sitting next to you who needs nearly an hour to figure it out, then it's probably not entirely the fault of the people trying to knit a thing. But yeah, that was it for today. I hope you find that I wasn't unnecessarily salty, because these are very lovely books. There's a very good variety in patterns. The little movie information is a very nice addition. The movie photos are really fun. They're really doing their best on, giving you fandom stuff, replicas and whatnot. So yeah, up to you whether this is something you want to spend your money on or not. But like I said, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to stick around for more shenanigans in motion. Hit that notification bell so YouTube hopefully actually tells you when I've uploaded a new video. That would be amazing. And yeah, that's it for today. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!